Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around Reviewed. Today we're going to be taking a look at the world's toughest card trick by Fern. Before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And please ring the bell.
Imagine a deck of cards is genuinely shuffled by the audience. The magician decides to ramp the difficulty up and perform the trick entirely behind their back. With the cards held behind their back, the magician has the spectator freely select the card, place it back in the deck, and then give the deck a couple shuffles. Magician is miraculously able to find the spectator's card.
Super
So,
cool.
I definitely think this is a really cool trick. It's actually based around a gimmick, though it comes as an instant download with instructions on how to build the gimmick yourself, so there is no physical purchase to this. It retails for $9.95, which is an absolute great deal and really in line with what we see for some more entry-level downloads, which I think is a great price point for something like this. I know diving into the tutorial a little bit, it was actually very comprehensive, but I almost feel like it was longer than it needed to be for what was included. One of the interesting things about it was at the end of the tutorial, Fern actually gives an entire 3-minute breakdown of everything you need to know to do this trick, which I feel like probably should have been in the beginning of the tutorial to basically say, hey, if you're a little more advanced and you want to just get the nitty gritty, here's the 3-minute rundown. But if you want more details, stick around for the other, 20 minutes that remain in this tutorial.
Yeah, I mean, it was 23 minutes long, which, for me, I looked at it and I was psyched. Diving in, the first 9 minutes to me was a little overdone. He probably could have done it in about maybe 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe talked a little bit about it, how to build the gimmick itself, and then went into that 3-minute video and then broke it down, in the order that it went, after the initial 9 minutes. But it felt like a 45-minute video to me.
And it was really interesting too, because I think Will really had some great energy to him too. So like you said, I was really excited for this tutorial because I was expecting it to be fun and energetic, and it was energetic, but it did feel like there was a little bit too much patter in the explanation to get to the point. So sometimes it's like, all right, I get it. What's the next bit? All that taken into account, the information presented is really straightforward. It's really thorough. And this is one of the things that I've been seeing more and more in the download tutorials is kind of a troubleshooting section. And I absolutely love that Will dove into troubleshooting and how to recover should things go wrong. And one of the cool things about this is a really easy beginner-oriented trick, so it's unlikely that things will go wrong, but to account for them and say, hey, here's what you can do if this happens or that happens, is really makes this very comprehensive. I think it really makes it so that if you're not used to performing or you're relatively new to performing and you're not exactly sure how to recover when things go wrong, you have a couple little outs and fixes in the works because they're covered in the video.
Yeah, and he also dove into a couple of different aspects of the routine that really weren't part of the gimmick itself. He did a specific move during the routine, and he actually went over that in the video rather than saying, if you want to learn this, go check out so-and-so. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that it was involved in the video as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things about that too, like you said, there were some touch points in the video as well about other things that you could do or how to even go beyond with the routine as it was without really touching on some of those. I think some of the points that they would have it would kind of assume that you understood some of those things, like culling and other things like that, that necessarily might play into how everything could work, for an example. So I think there was really a lot of opportunity there to have this be something that extends beyond just a beginner trick, but really goes from beginner to intermediate to potentially even, professional level. And I think one of the cool things about this is Will did mention several times that this is a magician fooler, and I think at a professional level, that's something that you really do look for, is something that is not only going to fool lay people, but also other magicians, because that's how you kind of know it's a worthwhile trick to have in your repertoire. This is something that I would highly recommend for anyone, beginner to professional, because the wow factor on it really is there. It really is simple, and I think the more experience you have, the easier you're going to be able to pick this up. But I think the really cool thing about all of that is it just fits perfectly into any kind of routine. You can do this in a close-up street magic setting. You could do it at a party as you're working the room. You could do it, in a lot of really intimate settings. The one thing I will say is it's probably not designed for stage or large audience kind of environments because there is some angle sensitivity to it just based on how some of the performance plays out. The angle sensitivity is relatively minor, but there is a key part where it does come into play. So having more of that intimate, controlled environment does allow this to play out better.
Yeah, a big bonus for me is the fact, when he did go over how to create this gimmick, the thing that stuck out in my head is I can use any deck I want, and that's important because a lot of people have specific decks they want to use during their routines, and you can literally do that with this download.
Absolutely. I think the idea that, a lot of times we see with gimmick-based tricks, you have what they're providing, and sometimes they'll show you how to create it yourself. But a lot of time you're kind of just stuck with this overly complicated or not easily replicated gimmick that
Yeah.
may not be, a standard deck of cards that looks like a rider back or whatever your favorite deck of cards may happen to be. This really does allow you to make this as customized as possible, which I thought was awesome. And I mean, I think most magicians are probably walking around with a deck of their favorite cards in their pocket at any point in time. This gimmick easily fits into your repertoire without adding bulk unnecessarily to, what you would consider in your pockets for like walk around magic.
Yeah, I agree.
So again, you can pick up this trick at Penguin Magic for $9.95, which I think is an absolute steal for a download like this. I think the value really is there. Really great for beginner level magicians, though I think some practice would be necessary there, but also really great for anyone from the beginner to the intermediate and advanced levels there, even professional magicians. So for anyone who's looking for the world's toughest card trick to really wow your spectators, make sure to check out Fern's The World's Toughest Card Trick.